Namaste, and welcome to our continuing series, Explorations in Savitri, with our beloved Alok. We continue Book 3, the Book of the Divine Mother, Canto 4, the Vision and the Boon, page 345, at the break.
So Ashupati has asked for the boon. What is the boon? He has asked the Divine Mother to come upon earth. This is the rest is a natural consequence. So you see, it is very interesting. You see, in Sri Aurobindo and the mother's life, in a certain sense, Sri Aurobindo's greatest act was to establish the Divine Mother in different ways. In India, as the Shakti of India. That's how he puts it. Then, and with the mantra of Bande Matram. Then, in the ashram, as the Divine Mother who presides over the next evolutionary cycle. And then, in the book form, as Savitri, which is again the Divine Mother's word body. So, this was his, if you see the focus. But if you see the organization of all these things on the most material plane, it was the Divine Mother who does that. I mean, the yoga, its nitty-gritties, its details, all its aspects. It is the Divine Mother who does it. And she asks the boons for mankind, the supramental manifestation. All this follows subsequently. So, he has asked for the boon of boons. And now comes a few lines which precisely show the problem that we see in Sri Aurobindo's yoga. Now, Sri Aurobindo, many people want to make it a mass movement in various ways. But we should be careful why Sri Aurobindo and the mother did not want it to be like that. Because it's not a new religion that is being founded, not another cult, not another path towards the one reality. But it's a change of earth nature. Meaning thereby, all the forces that have held earth nature right now in their fiefdom are going to resist and deny. And this he says in one of his letters, several letters, when he says, no yoga is easy, like French without tears. But in this yoga, where there is a conquest of earth nature, the difficulties are many, many fold. And we are given just here in 3 lines a gist of the difficulties. His prayers sank down in the resisting night, oppressed by the 1,000 forces that deny, as if too weak to climb to the supreme. 1,000 forces that deny. Doubts, could be, couldn't be, maybe, may not be, all kinds of, even joining the movement, coming to the ashram, becoming a member of society, doing this, doing that, anywhere in the world. But the forces that deny are so strong, they oppose this plan.
I would even add, should not be and must not be.
Must not be, cannot be, and all kinds of logic. From that, this my nature, it won't change. I have heard it here. And I have wondered, if that's the case, then why are we here? This place is meant for the change of nature. But not a human change, far greater, a change of divinization. Then that, well, Sri Aurobindo and the mother, they are not there. How can the supermind be established upon earth? We don't see the appearances. Everything appears dark. So these are 100 ways, 1,000 ways. People deny and revolt against the divine wills. Revolt. Sometimes revolt can take very strange forms, very subtle forms. One of the forms is that, what is the use? I see this around and I feel little depressed. This is a revolt actually. We don't realize it. It's almost like we are playing the role of being a very good, righteous human being, whereas there are others who are all not catching up, and what's the use of even if a slight twitch and a little suggestion here and there is enough. So these are voices that deny, and one must be very careful This has to be emphasized 10,000 times. Mother has said at one place, pessimism is the tail of the devil. All doubt, depression, despair are the locks with which we are locking ourselves and keeping us away from the divine. So, thousand forces that deny. And yet, but there arose a wide consenting voice. Now you see this, how Sri Aurobindo's magic of poetry, many times, this contrast makes the power even more greater. If immediately after this it was, there arose a wide consenting voice, it won't carry that weight. As when you read that his prayers sank in the resisting night, and now with a but there arose. Now that might and majesty of that voice, like mother alone is sufficient. That's how the mother put it. What do you expect from us? Who can say but the divine? Nothing. Not even a practice, a process, nothing. Should we expect from you? Everything. Some of our statements are from that highest poise. Says everything. Mother, is humanity fulfilling your expectations? Since I expect nothing, I cannot say anything about it. Now this is like that highest plane where she says, doesn't matter. The massive barrier the spirit of beauty was revealed in sound. Light floated round the marvelous vision's brow, and on her lips the immortal's joy took shape. Now, when we read through this wonderful passage, you see Savitri, the Divine Mother, is described in various ways. The Divine Mother in her highest form, be that the adoration of the Divine Mother, transcendent. Then there is the World Mother described in the World Soul, how when she moves the ages change. Then there are several places in the greater mind that even the seers and sages just have a glimpse of her, and they have made thousands of forms, but she remains herself an infinite. It's only by surrender that something of that glory can be revealed. Then her avataric form, the individual. So you see the transcendent, universal, and the individual. There her personality is described in Canto 2, Book 1, Canto 2, the issue. It's an amazing passage, and Sri Aurobindo has himself spoken about it as through and through our mind. Amal Kiran writes about it. And here, while it is in the future tense, it brings the entirety of when the avatar comes, everything, even his form. See the beauty of the form. He has taken a form. Why has he taken a form? Not because form is meaningless. Because we cannot touch that transcendence. We are limited by the form, so he brings the transcendence into the form. And simply by contact with that transcendence in a form which is accessible to us, we too can change. So she brings all that in a form. And that's the mystery and beauty of form. Now people often say, but now we don't see the mother. Yes, but you have the mother's signature, you have her photographs, you have her pieces of sari, you have many things of the mother. Places touched by the mother. Today I was sitting in that little corridor, where there is a door, other side you go to mother's room, and there is the bathroom inside the ashram. So I usually sit there, and I don't know whether I should reveal this secret or not, because I don't want that place to be crowded, taken up.
Overrun.
Somebody was sitting there, and when I came, the lady got up with, I know you sit here. I said, no, it's fine, you can sit here. So she said something. I said, no, you know why this place is so special? She didn't know. I said, Sri Aurobindo has walked this way. Did anyone know? He used to come down from the stairs long back and take that much passage into the bathroom. And when he used to come down, the curtain used to be pulled, because you can't have darshan of the Lord like that. It's amazing. So for me, that place is special because of that. Now we have their touch in so many ways. That's why people are drawn to come all the way to ashram. So this touch, when the divine takes a form, even in photographs, Mother has said, I have put myself in the photographs. So that is what gives a concrete help. So we have the mystery of the form. Starts with, O strong forerunner, I have heard thy cry. One shall descend and break the iron law, change nature's doom by the lone spirit's power. The iron law very clearly is the law of matter. We have iron, silver, and the gold. So the law of matter, it must disintegrate. That's why material bodies must die. The vital never ages. In a sense, it is immortal. But it is the matter which dies. So when we take a human body, this is the problem, the predicament, that there is an unaging vital in a body that is perishing with passage of time. So this iron law of death will change. And on whom does she depend? Lone spirit's power. Somebody asked Ravindo, I want to help you in your work. Sri Aurobindo says, do you know what it means? Help you in your work. It is, if we should get rid of this illusion that any of us is helping in their work. But if it looks like somebody is helping, it is because out of her grace she gives that, okay. And in that sense, the whole earth helps in the work. So that's the way we have to look at it, that they are quite capable of doing everything by themselves, possibly better. But then, they are actually helping us by allowing us to participate in that great, wonderful event. A limitless mind that can contain the world, a sweet and violent heart of ardent calms, moved by the passions of the gods, shall come. See, in India, you have when I read this passage for the first time, and I had translated this into Hindi, some of the passages, just out of my joy, I didn't give it for publication anywhere. But the impression I had was the birth of Durga, the way she's described. That, earth is groaning and all the gods come together. And Durga manifests. And she has this power, that power, the passion of the gods. What gods cannot do. And they are also anguished by the state of things. They have been ceaselessly working for ages upon matter. Now they say, Divine Mother, we can't come down, moved by the passion of the gods. And what is her heart? Very different from what at one place he says, I have neither something of a sage nor of the god. She speaks of that. So she says, I am not a sage or seer of that kind. Sages are supposed to be very benign. People describe that when they were in Sri Aurobindo's presence, it was like infinity. But the moment Mother came, it was like tremendous pressure for transformation they used to feel. And you see, when there is a very nice anecdote, Nirodha recounts that when Sri Aurobindo is sitting there in his all majesty, concentrating into what we can never fathom, some of them would be taking the newspaper, reading some Karlivi, somebody, then sometime they would have a talk. Once they were having a talk with Sri Aurobindo, and suddenly Sri Aurobindo says, Mother is coming, Mother is coming. And everybody describes it so beautifully. Mother is coming. It's not fear or awe, but you will be bare and exposed. A lot of people who have had contact, that when she looked into your eyes, it was like laser going deep down and you can't hide anything. It's laid bare. A lot of people have described this experience. With Sri Aurobindo, it was like they are getting lost in his infinity. But with Mother's, her look, it was like she's doing a surgery inside you, right there where the worm is hiding. And you may say, Mother, please, please, please. No, it's done. That's it. And sometimes the effect could be, Chotnarayanji, when he would 15 days had nightmares of these asuras and rakshasas coming all around, staying in Golkund. So he one day goes to Mother and says, Mother, I feel very afraid because of these asuras which come. If you are afraid, you cannot do yoga. He goes away. He told me, he described it himself. He said, हम आपके पास फिर हम कहाँ जाएं? अभी माँ आपने डांट दिया, हम कहाँ जाएं? He had his way of saying. And then a boil came up on his leg. And he went and it kept on growing. All these, see, this was her way of throwing out all the energies, which he at that point didn't understand. Later on, of course, he himself, great yogi. So he went to mother very hesitantly, ki abhi kya hoga, about his boil. Big boil, painful. He says, she looked at the boil and my whole body was on fire. He was burning day and night. And he just didn't know what to do. So after a few days, he says, Mother, I just can't bear it. He says, go back. That's 2 words. Nothing. No description, nothing. Go back. He says, how do I go back in this state? But she arranged everything on her own without his not. I mean, he didn't know. Mother has not told anyone. But suddenly somebody comes and tells him, I am going, would you like to come? He had no reservation. But he got, when he came, there was a berth was arranged. He says, by the time I reached Chennai, 50% of my pain was gone. By the time I reached so-and-so place, 75% gone. In my village, 100% gone. That kind of power. Can we imagine? I mean, and to hold it within a body. She says at several places. A sweet and violent heart of ardent calms. Sweetness, violence, divine violence, which doesn't take and accept any obstacles, and calm. Moved by the passions of the gods shall come. All mights and greatnesses shall join in her. Mights and greatnesses, the gods. Many interesting stories. One of them in the playground when a girl got her the Datura flower, tapasya, to give to mother. She said, Shiva was here few moments back. He loves this flower. Indra, she describes that how he had come and with his thunderbolt, which is diamond kind of light. All these gods, there is even a prayer in prayers and meditation where she addresses Indra and Agni and Mitra, and it ends with Lord Mitra. So, what kind of mights and greatnesses they must be coming, we cannot even imagine. Join in her. Beauty shall walk celestial on the earth. Delight shall sleep in the cloud net of her hair. And in her body, as on his homing tree, immortal love shall beat his glorious wings. Body made of love. A music of griefless things shall weave her charm. Just to look at her was to forget grief and be freed from suffering. No yoga needed. People have told me this experience of losing a very close loved one. Chomdi, she was describing how three-year-old father has died, and she and her mother go to meet the Divine Mother. And naturally, it's a very sad moment, no? Young age, 40s, and she's a 3-year-old child. And the mother looks at them and she looks and then she asks only one sentence, do you want to meet him? Oh, this unprepared completely. No Gita Jnana and all detachment. Then mother, Minidi, she is overwhelmed. She says, no mother, if he is safe with you, there is no need. Yes, he is very comfortable with me. They come back, they said, we don't know where grief vanished. Griefless charm, no philosophy, no sit and meditate, I will teach you this vidya, that practice. In 10 days you will find just music of griefless things shall weave her charm. And many examples, and I must say, one has to witness a death in the ashram, what is called as death, to experience this. I have seen untimely deaths, all kinds of deaths, what can be called as accidental deaths, but no grief. And initially I couldn't believe that, this is true, and so many times I have seen. Something happens. Even if you want to feel sad, something will come and just wash it away. It's like great waves of her love. The harps of the perfect shall attune her voice. The streams of heaven shall murmur in her laugh. Her lips shall be the honeycombs of God. So what can we talk about it? Her limbs, his golden jars of ecstasy. Just where she walks, her touch, even a gesture, her limbs, the golden jars of ecstasy. Her breasts, the rapture flowers of paradise. Now you see in this passage, one thing that keeps coming recurrently is delight in various forms. Joy, ecstasy, delight, rapture, several places. So essentially it is delight. And in that delight there is love, there is beauty, and there is wisdom and might. But primarily if you see the overall description, it is of Anandamay, delight. She shall bear wisdom in her voiceless bosom. Strength shall be with her like a conqueror's sword, and from her eyes the eternal's bliss shall gaze.
That was one thing we never forgot when we saw Mother. In her eyes.
Yes. Such bliss.
It was such an experience.
There is a picture also of the mother in dispensary. Those who have seen, otherwise if you have not seen the room, the biggest room, her laughter. And when first time I saw and I was sitting, I said, who would look at the doctor? And why would somebody look at the doctor? Right behind the doctor, she's laughing. So I used to say humorously, and I hope my medical colleagues are not hearing, that she's laughing at the doctors and the patients both. At the doctors because he thinks he's something or someone who can cure. At the patient because he feels that this fellow will cure me. Look, just go and see a picture that, just for that picture. Mother's laughter, eyes are closed and And her laughter, Sri Aurobindo describes several places, and he says that she has a very subtle humor. Several places in the book also you'll find conversations, you'll see laughter. Mother laughs. So, don't listen to people who paint her as a strict disciplinarian with a mother superior with a rod in her hand. She is not that. She is delight. And if sometimes she seems to be tough with you, take it as the greatest blessing upon earth. It means you are so intimate and close. One of the persons to whom the mother would be seen scolding is Amrita. And she would say, what a foolish thing, what you could do. And Amrita would bow his head and keep smiling and saying, yes, mother, yes, mother, yes, mother.
I'm stupid. Yes.
I'm stupid. Somebody asked him, Amrit, you don't feel bad? Have you ever heard her doing this to anyone? You know how much she loves me. It is only because of intimacy. And the mother confirmed this. Sri Aurobindo confirmed this. She doesn't do it with everyone. It's only when somebody is so intimate, so close, so sweet, that she can do it. Because she knows, Sri Aurobindo says, because she knows that she will not be misunderstood when she does that.
My friend Venkat Swami, who founded the Arvind Eye Clinic.
Yes.
Thousands of people. I went there today. On the board, huge sign. Faith.
Yes, finally it is faith that kills.
Finally it is faith that heals.
What a power she manifested. If I just to imagine that is... So what will be the hour when God comes? What trumpets will be beating? Who will announce God is coming, God is coming? So, often you will see this is a strange contrast. Once someone told me that, the problem is people put big billboards and showed me, it's in one of the cities where a lot of Swamijis come. This Swamiji, that 108 Bar Sri, big posters. She said, I think we should do something like that. I said, don't horrify me. This is the best way to finish Sri Aurobindo's work. This is not the way. Because the Lord doesn't come like this. If you do all this noise and all this, He will say, okay, thank you. Let Babaji's come, I'll be away. So when does God come? How does He come? A seed shall be sown in death's tremendous hour. A branch of heaven transplant to human soil. Nature shall overleap her mortal step. Fate shall be changed by an unchanging will. So this death's tremendous hour is very interesting. We have a lot of, Gita Gostis and Gita Gyan and Gita lectures, many things. So I have my own way of saying this is the second Gita. Of course, it's actually known as second Gita, which was given in the princely hall of Yudhishthira. But what is the original Gita? Original Gita, you can't be an adhikari sitting in quiet hermitage and trying to analyze Sanskrit. Original Gita comes when you are really in a state of crisis like Arjuna, and like him you say, Shishyasteham sadhimam, guide me, O Lord, thou who art seated within. Then you receive the Gita in your own way. On the battlefield, death's tremendous hour. That is the origin of Gita. It is not an intellectual book to be, like a philosopher studied and compared. It's okay, one can do it, that's perfectly fine. But that state in which Arjuna is, that receptivity because of that intense confusion of dharmas which he is undergoing. Then another thing about death's tremendous hour is, in the First World War, we see the Divine Mother coming. Death's tremendous hour. Then again, death's tremendous hour. First time the supramental descent takes place when Sri Aurobindo is physically leaving his body. And what does he give in the passing? The gift of Savitri. It reminds me of Shiva, who as a Nilkant was absorbing all the poison of the earth, but giving immortality to people. Really, the birth of Savitri is like that, death's tremendous hour. First time Savitri came to print was in 1950. That was part 1. Part 2 in 1951.
Yeah.
Death's tremendous hour.
I'll share one brief story that was a dream of Annie.
Mm-hmm.
And we are in England, and I'm climbing up the walls of St. Paul's Cathedral. And they're all afraid, but I see a golden tree in the air. And I said, I must bring a branch down and plant it for Mother. And when I told this story to Vladimir, he said, a branch of heaven transplant to human soil.
Absolutely.
Right,
Those
Savitri.
forces, those powers have to be brought down to earth. In Indian mythology, you have the tree of Parijat being planted on earth. It was a heavenly tree and the gods were not willing to give. Why? Because if the tree is planted on earth, men will be like gods. So they refuse even Krishna. Krishna has to actually be ready for fight, and then they finally concede that okay, it's okay. So a branch of heaven transplant to human soil. And finally, death's tremendous hour, when the advent takes place, is when the ego dies. That's when we experience the advent of the Divine Mother within us. So at several places, death's tremendous hour. A seed shall be sown in death's tremendous hour. A branch of heaven transplant to human soil. Nature shall overleap her mortal step. Fate shall be changed by an unchanging will. So here ends this wonderful canto in a way. Of course, the last lines are very beautiful. They describe with graphic detail, that how Sri Aurobindo must have experienced all these things. That is another beauty of Sri Aurobindo. And when you read through Savitri, it's very clear. It is real experience. It is described in such detail. See now, for example, how it continues. Now the Divine Mother has given the boon. There was a form which came and it gave the boon. Now it is retreating back. So, what is that experience? As a flame disappears in endless light. That endless light had assumed a form, the Divine Mother. We see that described in Canto 2 of this book. Immortally extinguished in its source. It's not death, immortally extinguished in its source. Vanished the splendor and was still the word, an echo of delight that once was close. So, what the divine presence leaves in the passing is delight and peace. So, people often say guidance by the mother and voice of the mother. They should be very careful. Even this message was actually directed to somebody who believes that everything mother is guiding me. Mother's guidance doesn't create this kind of tumult, agitation, restlessness. It is something which brings quietude, which brings an inner state of delight. So, this is the experience, the harmony journey towards some distant hush, a music failing in the ear of trance, a cadence called by distant cadences, a voice that trembled into strains withdrawn. So one can see that suddenly there is the sense of some endless vastness into which it's all getting absorbed. Her form retreated from the longing earth, forsaking nearness to the abandoned sense, without which you cannot, you have to suspend all of them. And then there is this great vision. It can only come as a result of grace. Ashwapati is a tapasvi, of course. He has really, if ever earned it, then he has earned it. She says that what thou hast earned is thine, but ask no more. Ascending to her unattainable home, lone, brilliant, vacant lay the inner fields. All was unfilled, inordinate spirit space, because the delight has withdrawn into a distant hush, all its silence. But he uses a very interesting word, unfilled. It's like an empty container waiting for something to come and fill it. Unfilled. It's not empty because it was filled. Look at the beauty of the description. It's not empty space anymore because it was filled and it is withdrawn. So it's amazing. And without that which was filling, that delight, that form, that ecstasy, what it becomes? Indifferent, waste, a desert of bright peace. It is peace and luminous peace. But still, what is peace without our Divine Mother? It is a waste, it is a desert. How wonderful the description is. Shiva without Shakti is Shav.
I'll read a little.
Yes, please.
Then a line moved on the far edge of calm, the warm-lipped, sentient, soft, terrestrial wave, a quick and many-murmured moan and laugh came gliding in upon white feet of sound. Unlocked was the deep glory of silence heart, the absolute, unmoving stillnesses surrendered to the breath of mortal air. See how the entire process of coming back from that high state, how slowly the terrestrial air, the mortal breath, the atmosphere, the laugh, the moan, and Ashwapati is returning to the human field, earthly field. Dissolving boundlessly, the heavens of trance collapsed to waking mind. Eternity cast down its incommunicable lids over its solitude remote from ken, behind the voiceless mystery of sleep. So how, as he is coming, the heavens collapsed. It is like he has entered through a gate. And of course he entered through the gate which is described in this book, Canto 1 and 2.
And then he is coming back, and then a time comes when the lids close and the gates have closed. Now he is returning back to earth with all that. Such a detailed description. Dissolving boundlessly the heavens of trance, collapsed to waking mind. Eternity cast down its incommunicable lids over its solitudes remote from ken, behind the voiceless mystery of sleep. The grandiose respite failed, the wide release. Across the light of fast receding plains, countless plains he has climbed. It's unimaginable. It's not just classically we speak of seven, three below, three above, and the link plane being supermind. But each plane has countless subplanes, 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 countless worlds. And all of them are being left behind, suddenly vanishing like he's coming too fast back to earth. Across the light of fast receding plains that fled from him as from a falling star, compelled to fill its human house in time, his soul drew back into the speed and noise of the vast business of created things.
Is humor.
This is humor. Business of created things. So that's how one returns back. And imagine, this is the great sacrifice, Ashwapati returning back. He was given a choice. He was given a choice that he could have merged himself into the flame, or he was given a choice that no, you go back and continue. But he wants to secure the boon and then come back. Now he comes back. Once more, the speed and humor of life. A chariot of the marvels of the heavens, broad-based to bear the gods on fiery wheels, flaming he swept through the spiritual gates. Now you see, eternal lids are closed. Then through the spiritual gates, the spiritual worlds of higher mind, illumined mind, through all that, he's flaming as if, in a chariot, his body like a glowing shell. The mortal stir received him in its midst. Once more he moved amid material scenes, lifted by intimations from the heights. And in the pauses of the building brain, touched by the thoughts that skim the fathomless surge of nature and wing back to hidden shores. This is very, very profound, even at the most biological level. Pauses of the building brain. So if you really see the activity of the synaptic activity in the brain, you actually have pauses of very, very brief microseconds when there is a current going on. But we don't experience it. We feel it is something continuous. It's like a cinema show. You have separate things, but you are running it so fast that you can't register. So it's happening with everything. Our sight is working like that, ears are working like that. Yet we experience life as if it's a continuous panorama. Yet it is those pauses which are very important. And yogi is not to do it. That's why through the breath also you can arrive at that pause. Pauses between breath. Pauses between heartbeats. So in these pauses, when nature gives that opening of the window, in one place Mother says, every day there are several windows that open onto the infinite. And it is true even in the body. And that's why she says that, quietude even in the body, especially when one is unwell. So this is the moment when there is the entry point. But it's so small. It's like it keeps shutting the gate. And the more agitated and restless we are, the more hyperactivity, the more the shut. We don't allow that light to pour in. And the quieter we become, the less agitated, less restless, less excitement, quiet. The more we allow this influx. So, this pauses of the brain, of the building brain. The eternal seeker, touched by the thoughts that skim the fathomless surge of nature and wing back to hidden shores. The eternal seeker in the aeonic field, besieged by the intolerant press of hours, again was strong for great swift-footed deeds. Once again identified with our humanity, morning till evening. अभी dining room जाना है. Even meditation room and playground, everything is like super activity, and all day, and that's how we count our day. But the day should not be counted in any external way. How many times we came in contact with that wonderful presence? Even when all the time you feel, still there are special moments. That is the way the day should be counted. It can happen any time, most casually when you are looking through the window. But we count it from the pushed by the hours. Awake beneath the ignorant vault of night, he saw the unnumbered people of the stars and heard the questioning of the unsatisfied flood and toiled with the form maker measuring mind. This is what he must be experiencing, coming back to the human field. A wanderer from the occult invisible suns, accomplishing the fate of transient things. What he would have explained to people, letters, questions, what he would have said, I have come from lands of wanderer from these invisible suns. They are my companion. People would have felt that I don't know what he is speaking. So he had to come down to our human level and write and speak. And again he would write the same point, reiterating it again and again from different angles, never showing any impatience, never showing any, oh, I have written to you, I have explained to you, don't you understand? Are you such a dimwit? Nothing. Not even not replying because I am someone too busy and too special. Writing again and again and again on smallest of queries. That is Sri Aurobindo's compassion. Accomplishing the fate of transient things, and yet he is the one who is guarding and accomplishing the fate. A god in the figure of the arisen beast. That's one way to look at human form. He raised his brow of conquest to the heavens, establishing the empire of the soul on matter and its bounded universe, as on a solid rock in infinite seas. This is the rock of Kanyakumari. See, solid rock of seas, where he is established. This is the seat. Conquest over heavens. Gods must have watched him, hailed him, prayed to him. But human beings would have sent a query again, sir, are you so sure about the supermind? And he would say equally humorously, I can see it still descending down.
These last two lines
Yes.
are so interesting.
The Lord of life resumed his mighty rounds in the vacant field of the ambiguous globe. In the scant field of the ambiguous globe. He's calling it scant because much greater is packed in the beyond. So we'll close here, end of book 3, Canto 4, end of part 1.
Thank you. Namaste.